Oh, hey there, everyone. Happy Cyberpunk Day or week or month or year, whatever it is. I'm Brian Altano. This is Max Scoville. And if you're watching this, you probably know that Cyberpunk 2077, after 8 years,
Eight and a half
of announcement development, is finally out in the wild. Millions of people are playing it. It got something like 8 million pre-orders. I think more and more people are buying it by the second. Now, a thing we're noticing now that it's finally out there is that a lot of players, millions of players who are playing the game on consoles are running into some technical issues, frame rate, pop-in, weird, bizarre, funny glitches, very low resolution compared to the PC counterparts. Now, obviously, this is not entirely surprising because this is a game that has scaled very publicly to high-end, big video cards who are capable of rendering this massive, amazing, gorgeous-looking open-world game in the best quality possible. But CD Projekt Red kind of kept the console version of this game a secret for a while. Our own reviewer, Tom Marks, gave the game a 9 out of 10, but we did not have any access pre-release to the console versions of this game. We were just able to play it on PC, as were every other reviewer. Some versions of that game were leaked through retail stores like Best Buy, so players were able to get their hands on it early, but CDPR was pulling down videos of those versions early on. So technically, until launch, we didn't really know what this game looked like on consoles until now.
Right.
What do you have to say about this, Max?
So it doesn't look great, and this is a game that's been delayed 3 times this year. On base PS4 and Xbox One S or One launch, whatever. It looks pretty busted. Like, it looks very, very low res. It's buggy as hell. There are bugs across the board on all systems, and CDPR has a good track record of addressing bugs and patching them and everything. But one argument we've been seeing is that people saying that, yeah, it's stupid for anybody to expect a game this ambitious and arguably next gen to run on 7-year-old hardware, because the launch PS4 and the launch Xbox One are getting pretty long in the tooth. That's an older system at this point, and we had that weird kind of half step with the Pro and the One X, which presumably run it a little bit better. But people are saying that you should be playing this on next gen consoles if you want to get the best experience, which is a little bit unfair because it doesn't currently exist for next gen consoles. If you buy it on PS5, it has a little PS4 in the corner. It is still only available as a last-gen game. If you go on Amazon and you search Xbox Series X Cyberpunk 2077, it pulls up the Xbox One version, which then gets the whole smart delivery treatment to up-res all the things. And, same with PS4 to PS5. This game was announced a year before the PS4 and Xbox One came out. This game got its first trailer in January of 2013, a whole, better part of a year before those consoles even launched. So I think it's safe to say that CDPR has had a good amount of time to figure out what will and won't work on those systems, and it's kind of unfair to anybody who is playing on one of those base systems that they're getting this kind of experience.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's not exactly fair that this version was shielded from players for so long. Some reasons behind that is, one, like you alluded to, there is currently no native next-gen version of this game playable on PS5 or Series X. That will be available next year, and you will get upgrades for free. It is worth mentioning right now, benefit of the doubt, CD Projekt Red has historically been awesome about this kind of stuff. They constantly tinker and work on their games, update them, offer free patches, free upgrades, they hand out meaty content drops that for free. Sometimes, obviously there's paid DLC as well. This is not necessarily a situation where they will just drop this game and forget it exists.
No, I highly doubt that. Again, it's a pretty good move of them to be like, hey, if you get this game on last gen, you automatically get it upgraded to the next gen version if you're playing on next gen hardware, which is cool as hell. But it is sort of weird to have it, to have it sort of so tied so closely, to have this release date aligned with next gen consoles, and then to only have the last gen version available. And then when you stop and think about it, the original Cyberpunk 2077 launch date was April of last year. They announced that at E3 2019. They came out. Keanu Reeves told us all we were breathtaking.
You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
Thanks, Keanu. And then they said it's coming to Xbox One and PS4 in April, because the next gen hardware hadn't been officially announced or revealed at that point. So this has always been a last gen game. So to be like, oh, you're not playing it on next gen hardware is like completely, that's that sucks. That's totally not fair to say. Meanwhile,
we literally didn't know what the PS5 looked like until August of 2020 this year, which is, in between several of the release dates that Cyberpunk was supposed to get. And
exactly.
So
it's running great on super high-end PC hardware, which that's always been kind of CDPR's focus, and that rules if you've got a PC that can run it. They've been kind of marketing alongside NVIDIA, showing off some of the cool ray tracing stuff, and that rules. And it's great if you've got that kind of next gen level rig that can really power it. But I just can't help but feel like either they didn't target consoles properly, or this game should have stayed in the oven a bit longer.
Right.
I'm feeling like maybe we're all playing kind of an early access game here.
Yeah, which is a bummer because, obviously people are running into some issues on even the most high-end PCs. But I will say that from what we've seen sort of anecdotally and also internally here at IGN, the game is running better on Series X and PS5 when you're playing the base console versions of it. However, those systems are basically impossible to find right now unless you get lucky in a store, hitting F5 on a website over and over, or battling scalpers and robots in the streets. It's not exactly easy to take that pathway if you want it. The reason this feels kind of gross to me, and that's a word I'll definitely just throw out here, is that this is a game that is being specifically marketed on the front ends of the digital and physical storefronts for current-gen consoles everywhere. CDPR released the pre-order stats, 8 million copies pre-ordered. 59% of those pre-orders came on PC. Not surprising. This is, sort of interconnected with the mindshare of PC gamers. But 41% of those pre-order sales came from console gamers who did not really know what this game looked like outside of highly curated videos released specifically from the developer leading up to launch, which means that a lot of players had to drop that $60 down themselves to start playing last night and today to figure out exactly how this game looked and played. And many of them I've seen are asking for refunds because they're not happy with it. The resolution is low, draw distance is low. There's ridiculous, glitches and pop-ins. Some of them are very funny too, which is great. I mean, I love stuff like that. And again, this will grow, this will evolve, this will change. This is a game that will continue to get patched. But I do feel like a significant portion of the audience here is a little bit blindsided and a little bit ripped off by the fact that they didn't necessarily know what they were buying, and they're kind of getting the short end of the stick here. And I don't think that's exactly fair, because I do feel like if this was happening with a different company, maybe some of the more notable ones that get kind of dragged down when they understandably do some bad stuff.
Right, first of all, if EA made a game that people wanted this badly, that would be one thing. But if they shipped it like this, people would be firebombing their offices. Can't even imagine.
Yeah, I look at glitches that plagued Assassin's Creed Unity, were essentially the death of that game on certain console SKUs, and we're seeing similar stuff on Cyberpunk. And I don't think people are as upset about it. And maybe they just haven't found it yet, and maybe they're just experiencing the game at their own. But I do think that this sets a bad precedent, and I do think that gamers deserve better to know what they're buying in on. And I do think that maybe the current gen versions of this game should have been either delayed or I mean, I hate to say it, maybe even canceled outright.
Wait, so current gen versions, by that you mean the only console versions that are out? Yeah,
yes,
right.
Yes.
So I'm thinking if you're going to buy this game, if you're going to jump on this game, maybe holding off until the actual next gen versions ship sometime in 2021. Not good. Right. Maybe you're better off waiting, because I mean, here's the thing: with The Witcher 3, that launch that had some jankiness at first, it didn't look quite as graphically nice as the demos had been, and some gamers got in CDPR's ass about that, and they were like, "Hey, chill, we're sorry, we apologize. We have tons of free DLC coming. We're going to patch it left and right. We're adding finishers. Geralt has a new hat, whatever it was. They added a bunch of free DLC, and they earned a lot of good faith with that. And I feel with Cyberpunk's launch, it's kind of squandering a lot of that.
I agree.
And even the reviews, we cut our first review using footage that they provided. And we've since gone to replace that, and you can see what actual footage that we captured on our our end looks like. But that feels again kind of gross.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, the thing is, there was this big savior that was supposed to be this, gigantic day one patch, and we thought, or at least hoped, that would make significant improvement in things. And in some ways it did, right? There's definitely, anecdotally, it seems like it's running a little bit better. But players who downloaded the patch on consoles are still running into issues. Obviously, what's disheartening about this is that we have seen big open world games, maybe not at this magnitude or have this many sort of interlayered complex systems, But stuff like Red Dead, and GTA, which is obviously an old game that is continually updated, seems to run fine on base consoles. Now, obviously, yes, these are ancient consoles by tech standards, right? These are 7+ year old systems, and so you kind of get what you get buying into them. But that said, I do think that there should be a warning. I do think that this shouldn't have been kept from the millions and millions of people playing the games on those versions. And I don't think it's fair. Like, personally, I think it's straight up like disingenuous, and I don't think it's fair that millions of people have to experience the game in its current state like this.
No, this is the most heavily marketed early access game in history. Like, they should have pushed it till next year, and everyone would have gotten mad at them, but we would have had a better launch and a better product in day one. And I mean, obviously, they are going to go in and fix it, I hope, and patch it all and make it run smoothly and look great. But I don't know, if you're announce a game for a platform, it would be cool if it ran on that platform. You know, they revealed this. They revealed this game on the Xbox stage. They didn't do it at like the PC hardware showcase. Like, this has always been marketed heavily as a console game, and it was marketed long before the next gen consoles came along, and it still isn't physically purchasable for next gen consoles. So like, it kind of dropped the ball there. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, I totally agree. In the meanwhile, this is a game that millions and millions of people are playing right now. It's the most popular game in the world. It's going to end up being one of the most popular entertainment launches in history. And 41% of that audience is playing on consoles. And so let us know how your experience has been, the good, the bad, the ugly. If things are going well, let us know. I've seen some people saying, turn off certain effects and sort of like there's like film grain and stuff that helps things run a little bit better for the time being. If you got tips like that, drop them in the comments. And for all things Cyberpunk, if you're stuck in the game, we got a wiki. If you want to read the review, we got reviews. We have billions of hours of video content about this game right now, finally. So go check it out.
And listen, if CDPR patches Cyberpunk and it looks perfect and runs great, then we'll come back and we'll patch this video and we'll say nothing but nice things. So just hang in there.